Alright, today's lesson is 4.3, which is point-slope form of an equation. We have already learned about slope-intercept. Now this is a new form. Now, we know the slope of a line is y minus y over x minus x, okay? Which is displayed here also as the rise over the run. Now, we learned yesterday the formula was mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Right? But what happens if we don't have either of these points? The new one is if you know the slope and you have a point x1, y1, what we do is we plug this into point slope form. And what that is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay? So, when we look at this, sometimes we'll keep the equation in this form, sometimes we'll simplify it. So let's look at the first example here. They tell you the slope of the line below is 3. Write the point slope equation for the line using the coordinates. The reason we know the slope is 3 is if I take a journey from this point, right, this nice point I should say, we would go up so many over so many. So they tell you the slope, the graph is not that great. But if your slope is 3 and it goes through the point 3, 4, here's your m, here's your x1, here's your y1. So y minus, remember it's y1, which is 4, equals 3 times x minus this 3 here. And you could leave your equation as is. Sometimes they will have you go ahead and distribute. So you would get y minus 4 equals 3x minus 9 when you distribute. Then add the 4. And when you do that, you would get y equals 3x minus 5, which is the same thing we did yesterday. Both of these answers could be accepted. Now the next one, they tell you the slope is negative 1/2. Okay? The slope is negative 1/2. And we're given the point 6, negative 1. Remember, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where this is x1, this is y1. So y minus, what's my y coordinate here? It's negative 1 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 6. Now, here's the one thing you have to understand is you have to make that a positive. So your final answer should be y plus 1 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 6. Okay? So this one, you know the slope is negative 4 and the point is 4, 6. So y minus 6 equals negative 4 times x minus 4. Okay? The only thing you have to do is memorize the formula. So the next one, if my slope is 2, and I go through that point, y minus negative 3 equals 2 times x minus 1. If I bling this and make it plus positive, my final answer should be this. Okay? Pause the video, try the next two on your own, and come back. So, y minus negative 7, we're going to make that plus positive, equals 14 times x minus negative 5. And remember, since it's subtracting a negative, we have to make it plus positive. Okay? And the last one here, y minus negative 1 equals negative 5 times x minus 1. So make that plus positive, and you're good. Alright, now the next one for 7 and 8, what they want you to do is find the slope first. So to find the slope, remember we do y minus y over x minus x. Let's go ahead and start with this point. So 6 minus negative 4 over, now we have to start with negative 1 on bottom, minus 4. If I make that plus positive, that gives me 10 over negative 5, and now I have a slope of negative 2. Now, if you look there, there's 2 points given. Does it matter which point you use? No. So I'll use -1, 6. You can get two different answers, but they're the same meaning. So y minus 6 equals -2 times x minus -1. And if I make that plus positive, y minus 6 equals -2 times x plus 1. Okay? Now the next one, if I go to find the slope of this line, alright, I'll start with this point. So we would do 2 minus 6 over -2 minus 6. 2 minus 6 is -4 over -8. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 4 over 8 would reduce to 1/2. Both of these can be divided by 4. So now I pick a point. Again, it doesn't matter which point you choose. I'll just start with -2, 2. So y minus 2 equals 1/2 times x minus -2. Bling bling that, and I am done. Okay. Try the next two on your own, and then come back and check your answers. Okay. So let's go start with the slope. So 2 minus 4 over -3 minus 3, which will give me -2 over -6. You have to remember that's going to be positive, and these can both be divided by 2 and reduced to 1/3. So again, I'll pick either one of these points. It doesn't matter. Both answers would be correct. I like the positive. So y minus 4 equals 1/3 times x minus 3. And we are done. Alright. Next one, if I go to find the slope, I'll start with this point. So we would do 7 minus -2 over 3 minus 6. Bling bling that, I get 9 over -3. Now 9 divided by -3 is -3. Now I just pick a point, say 3, 7, and y minus 7 equals -3 times x minus 3. Okay, so it's very important to know all of this, right? And remember, when you're doing the word problems, just understand what your ordered pairs represent to interpret. Okay, and remember, the slope is always your rate of change, and the y-intercept is always your starting amount.